Hi there, I am Mishka, and today I'd like to talk to you about a new series that I'm starting, which is called the I Am series. Thank you very much for spending this time with me, and it's really my heart's desire that you and I will just spend time together today, that you and I will just become friends in whatever we're going to discuss. Now, why a series called I Am? That's a very good question. But I've realized that one of the greatest concerns in life is that people who don't understand who we are, if I don't have that I am, who am I? It is probably one of the greatest problems. It's one of the causes, the biggest causes of making wrong decisions. It's one of the biggest causes of actually getting into situations that we should have never been in. Let me explain to you my heart behind it. And let me just take you back first. Why am I doing this? You know what? A while ago, I was saying to myself, Mishka, you've gone through a lot of things, and a lot of things have gone wrong. And I can actually, just understand if I'm talking to an audience that can say, yeah, I know, me too. A lot of things have gone wrong. And then I realized that out of each and every one of those things, I had to come out of understanding who I am, made a difference, and a change came into my life the day when I realized that I can say no to certain things because it's just simply not who I am. And then I say yes to certain things because that is who I am. I know you know what I'm talking about. And then I thought, one of these days, after this has now changed in my life, I'm not going to be here any longer. So thank goodness, because I changed all of this, I can now say, leave something for my children. And they are, they can actually say, yep, my mom did something well, and I'm going to inherit something. And I do believe that I'm leaving a legacy to them also because they've learned and they've seen, and I went through all the struggles of finding out who I am, and it affected my life but also theirs. So yes, that in itself is a legacy. And I thought, really? And then if I'm now not here anymore, is that honestly all I want to do? Is that honestly all that I want to leave behind? And I decided, no, I would like to actually also help other people, also touch maybe another life. Maybe if you're listening to me and you can find some value in what I've got to say to you today, if that can just bring a change to your life, then I'm leaving a far greater legacy behind than what I will be doing right now. So that is my motive behind it. My motive is that you'll see my heart, and that on this journey, because we're going to start a journey today together, that you will see with me where I went wrong. I'm going to use myself as an example. So I'm going to stand very vulnerable before you at times, but that's the only way that I can explain to you what really took part in my life and how I can help you from how did I turn that situation around from one end to the other the moment when I started realizing who I am. So that is first of all the purpose. I believe that it will touch your life if you open up to it and you listen to it and you become part of it. We will be launching this and we will have it every week. We will let you know when it will come up. So that is in part what's going to happen. Now let's start to look at I am. The first place that we need to look at, if I talk to somebody and say, who are you? I was even challenged when I had to do this introduction to this video. I go to Facebook and Facebook says to you, give us a bio. I'm sure you all know that. They give you 101 letters. I know, I tried. And I thought, who am I in 101 letters? Who am I in those couple of words? And I'll start off with, well, I am a proud mother. And then I'll go back and I think, yeah, I'm a general manager of a company. I'm running other programs, Women for Change. I'm running Let's Talk Business. I'm doing all these things. I'm a businesswoman. But is that really who I am? How do I tell you in 101 letters who I am? Who is Mishka? It's not easy. It's not easy because so often we've come to a place of saying who I am when we describe what I do. It's not who I am. So how do I bring across to you who I am? Even when I had to start, this was a challenge. and that we can't do in 101 letters because most of us and all of us are far too precious for that. So when we start, we have to start somewhere. And that somewhere is when we were born, because today I can say to you, this is where I am right now. This is where I am. I'm pretty happy, I'm so fulfilled in what I do. I experience a joy when I wake up in the morning. I am so excited about every single day. I am glad that I am financially in a good position, that I live in a good house, in a beautiful house, that I have a beautiful car, that I have a family that I love, that I have the most amazing children. But you know what? Everybody look at it and they see this picture of to them perhaps beauty. And I am grateful for that. But that is not who I was. That is not where I came from. Mostly what I come from was not always as together as what you can see right now. And that's where I want to take the journey with you. When we are born, I realize this one thing. And this is such an eye-opener, is when we're born, there's actually a part of us that is so perfectly just whole. That is I am. There is a part of us that is completely whole the day that we're born. Have you ever looked at a baby? They are so innocent. They're so absolutely beautiful. They're so whole. If you look at that. And I mean, very few people can say, oh, that's an ugly baby. We don't say that because whatever a baby looks like, there's always something so special about them, isn't it? And most of us come from that place of perfection. I believe it's a perfect little being that comes into life. Now, what we don't realize is that perfect I am that is in that baby when the baby is born actually stays part of us. Do you know that? And I say that because oftentimes when we go through life, because now here's this baby, just think about it. He or she comes into the world perfect, but he or she lands into a place and a position where the surroundings is not something that they chose. They didn't choose. I mean, when you and I came into it, that's it, boy, that's where we landed. But I want you to know from the beginning that it was still that little perfection of the I am that landed into a surrounding that wasn't perfect. That was completely, I don't know, it depends on who we are. But you can think about yourself. I know where I came into. A surroundings that sometimes is 100% wonderful, but sometimes it's not good. And the truth is, very often people are born into positions and places that is not good at all. And very often that little perfection in that baby that was a perfect little I am just got into a place where things are not so good, where things are broken. Sometimes rejection comes even with it. You can just think about it. Perhaps somebody is born and they were come out of wedlock, or they weren't planned. And now all of a sudden, the first thing that they experience, this little perfect I am, experiences rejection. Not asking for it, not wanting it. I mean, he or she just came. You just came. But you landed into a place where there was immediate rejection. Sometimes you were born into a place of poverty, of destruction, of people living in a place where it's just the absolute contrary, the opposite of what the little I am was meant for. Now, if we look at this, if we start to realize, and that's something that we mostly all of us lose, is we think that the little I am that was like that, I want you to sort of see it as in a box inside of you, that you were born to be the perfect person. The perfect person. There's like a package around you and me. It said, okay, that is what you need to do. That is what you need to become. That is what you have to be now that you are on this earth. You have to become something. Now that stays there. No matter how much our environment actually tries to change it. And that's something that people don't know. We don't understand that of ourselves. We do not understand that sometimes I'm frustrated. Sometimes I'm so terribly depressed because the little I am that's perfect inside of us is that something that will always call you back to where you belong. Now, I'm not saying that we do not belong with the parents that brought us into the world. I'm definitely not saying that. I'm saying that circumstances is always broken. It does not matter where we go. I've lived long enough to see that it doesn't matter whether we are in the poorest of the poorest or whether we're in the richest of the richest. There's always somewhere some form of a brokenness. Something is not right. Something comes with the territory. And it's very naive to think that we're not going to be in it, but that's what it is. We're getting into this place that we call Earth, and this little perfection, this little beautiful baby that we just want to protect, cannot be protected from what's going to happen next, because there is a life out there, and there are things happening every single day that this baby needs to grow up. And the baby learns quickly how to now start to walk. The baby learns how to talk. You know that I think that much as hearing and seeing is probably the most some of the most amazing things that we can do. It can also be some of the most harmful. Can you imagine that baby is born knowing exactly the purpose for their lives, and they didn't hear all the stuff they heard, and they didn't see all the things they saw? Don't you think we'll be a little bit different? Don't you think as we grow up and we hear, no, this is who you are, I want you to be like that, and then there's still that little something inside of you that wants to revert back to this purpose, this I am that's inside of you, and somebody now says, no, that's not going to happen. This is where we are, and this is what we're going to do, and this is the way we're going to go. Now, once again, it's amazing that in a household where there is so much guidance, that is so good because it's protection. Because now the baby starts to walk. You can imagine the day that you started to walk and you started to go places. You just wanted to do your own thing. And that could be very, very bad as well because you've got to learn. So we become part of a structure where we protect it, which is good. But to a certain degree, as we grow up, we get more and more exposed to those things that we are not. Now, if we are listening to the things that we are not and we accept it, say for instance you are born and you weren't wanted, so you come into this earth rejected, and your parents might say things like, I just never wanted you, or they say ugly things about you, which is one of the deepest things of pain that there can be in a person's life. If any of those things come in and you hear them, we've got a brain, a very, very powerful brain, and that stores it in your memory. Now, all these things, I want you to see it almost like a picture, is working against this box inside of you. You know that beautiful I am with a purpose? And everybody speaks and everybody says things, and we start to find ourselves into positions. And there's so much pressure that you say eventually, yeah, you know what, you're right. Maybe I should just actually sort of leave this that I feel, inside of me, and just go that way because the pressure is so immense. And we do it. And in all of it, we start to lose the identity that we were born with. We start to come to a place where we don't actually know who I am is. Who am I? What was I really supposed to come and do here? And that happened to me. And it led to so much in my life, making the wrong decisions. Because you see, when there is a clear understanding of who I am, I will always make the right decisions. What do I mean by that? And you need to hear what I'm saying to you out of a heart of so much love. I lived a long life before I came back to who I am. It took a fight to get back. I had to go against things that I wasn't. And I want to give you an example out of my own life. Let's just take this one thing. I was born left handed, to write with this left hand, you see. At that time, the school board or whatever thought, you can't be left handed. There's something wrong with you. I don't know what they thought. That's the wrong thing. I shouldn't have said that. But they force you to write with your right hand. Can you see? So here I am, born with a natural ability to write with my left hand. But a system thought, no, we don't accept that. We're going to get you to write with your right hand, whether you want it or not. So what happened? I had to grow many, many years after that. Writing, terribly. My handwriting was just something that nobody wants to see. I always wanted to be somebody that could do something beautiful, artist. Man, with the sand, if I take it up and even if I write. I don't know to tell you what comes out of there. Other people can tell you. And so one day, many, many, many years later, my sons were grown already, that I decided I just don't want this anymore because I was born left to write with this hand. And I realized that to be left at that point was right for me. Other people thought I had to be right-handed to be right, but that was not me. And I started this process. And it's a brain process because my brain, your brain sends signals out. And I had to go back and say, I will start to write with my left hand again. And I did. It was ugly. Let me tell you one thing, it took a while. A while of practice, a while of getting there. And then I saw how easy it became. And the reason why this came was how I was sitting, and I was in an art class actually when it came about. And I couldn't do anything with my right hand. But the moment I gave it over to my left hand, my brain just gave the right signals because that is who I am. So in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to take you. Today, I can write with both hands, obviously. So this whole thing worked out so much for my good. And now I'm ambidextrous, so I can do with both hands. But today I want to say to you, I'd like this journey, you to come on this journey with me, because there's so much more that I found out when I realized who I am. I'm still realizing, I'm still finding out day to day. But when I found out who I am and I started making a decision to get back to that, my life changed. And I really want in this series to do exactly the same for you. I hope that you will be touched by it and that you will come to a place of saying, I also want to go back to that person that came in, that little baby, that I want to find out what the purpose was in me, that I am that came in on the day of my birth. Well, next week we're talking about some more of this. Until then, goodbye.